This game is awesome. Edios Montreal, you guys had a huge bar to live up to when you came out with Human Revolution, and damn did you guys do justice with Mankind Divided. Once again, we take control of the augmented super cop, Adam Jensen. It's been 2 years since the events of Human Revolution, and the world does not look at augmented people quite the same that they did during Human Revolution. This is going to be a minor spoiler for people that haven't finished Human Revolution, but that being said, the game was made, 3-4 years ago, so if you haven't played it, you're probably not going to play it. And they also do have about a 12-minute recap kind of thing right at the beginning. It asks you if you want to do it. It's actually quite interesting, and if you've never played Human Revolution, it's perfect to get you into the world and the atmosphere. At the end of Human Revolution, a signal was broadcast all the way across the globe. This caused all the other augmented people to begin slaughtering themselves and others. If you flash forward 2 years later, the world has a much different view on augmented people than it did before. While before it saw them as useful and having upgrades to their body that they let them do things that normal humans couldn't, people are scared of them now because they realize that if these things lose control, they are very, very, very dangerous. This has led the police and government agencies to begin cracking down on augmented people. Basically, they are putting them in slave camps, in internment camps, in prison camps, whatever you want to call them. They're treating these people terribly. While on a mission in Dubai, trying to take out an arms dealer, things go horribly wrong for Jensen and his crew. He then finds a lead to Prague in Russia. The thing is Prague is a melting pot for this human versus augmented situation that's been going on over the last 2 years. Before the signal was broadcast in Human Revolution, Prague invited a bunch of augmented people to come and wanted to build a city, basically, out of augmented people. They called it the Unilex complex, sorry. But after the events of this, it basically turned into a prison camp, and they send all of the augmented people that don't have the proper papers and whatnot to this place. The people that are left in Prague, however, they are treated horribly by the government, the police, everything else. It's terrible. Jensen, having immediately getting into Prague, is caught up in a terrorist explosion. Literally, you enter Prague and get blown up. But this leads you on a mission to find the truth. That is the propelling force of the game. And, that's all you need, right? I mean, you got blown up. You kind of want to find out who did it. Now, if that hasn't got you hyped for the game, because that story alone would get me completely invested. I love sci-fi, I love cyberpunk, love that whole aesthetic. The gameplay itself is phenomenal. Deus Ex as a game has always been known as one of those games that kind of revolutionized the whole play however you want style. It was the original Deus Ex was one of those games that first gave you the dialogue options, the stealth options, the combat options, the ability to do what you want, how you want, when you want, which is awesome. That carries over very well into this game, and actually more so than Human Revolution. I loved Human Revolution for all of the ways you could approach different situations, whether you wanted to talk your way out of it, where you wanted to shoot out of it, whatever you wanted to do, you could do it. That is even more pronounced in this one. Some of the dialogue and the conversations that you can have in this game are crazy. There were whole sections of the game that I got through without even shooting somebody. I literally just talked my way through everything, and it was awesome. To be honest, 90% of the game I just talked my way and stealthed my way through because I feel that's the fun way to play these kind of games. I always loved it. In my playthrough, I actually only killed 11 people the whole way through. It was awesome, and I counted every single one. But that leads me to another thing. If you want to play completely guns blazing, go through, kill everybody. It's hilarious to see what people think of you if you do it, because you'll have your boss riding your ass and you'll have people hating you. But that being said, there is a couple situations where if you do go through that and do that, good luck getting the guy to talk to you. Whereas in one situation, I went through a place, did it completely non-lethally, got there, the guy thanked me for it, gave me the information I wanted, and I left. And that was that. And it was awesome. There are also a couple moments in the game where you have to seriously decide what you want to do. And this leads to another story aspect that I absolutely love. Different missions take place depending what you do. Like one example, and I'm not going to try to keep a spoiler out of this, but there's a situation where you have to either go to help a bomb maker or you have to go break into a bank. Depending which one you choose makes the next mission completely different. I'm one of those people that I refuse to go back and play these kind of games again because my story is my story, but I could just imagine how much different the next section would be depending what you did, especially considering what happens in the next mission. It's crazy. I would love to see it, but it's against my principles to do that, so I can't. The upgrade system is very, very similar to the way that it was in Human Revolution. It's actually exactly the same, except for one difference. Early on in the game, you find out that Jensen actually has some augments in him that he doesn't even know about. So they're pretty cool. Some of them are like an Icarus dash, they call it, which is really cool mythology and whatever else. But a dash, so he can dash forward, and he can blink forward, go over here, and things like that. Or you can get an upgrade where you can take down 2 guys instead of just 1 guy. There's other upgrades where you can turn your wrist into a like a concussion cannon, things like that. They're really cool. There's even one that turns you basically into a walking tank. It's called dermal armor. It's really cool. But using these upgrades actually makes you have to shut down other upgrades in your operating system because it overheats your system. There are ways to get around it later on in the game, but at the beginning, it's a really cool concept that I really liked, and I thought it was awesome. In terms of the gunplay, I honestly can't give too much context into it because I didn't use it too much, but the times that I did have to shoot my way out of situations, I was playing on hard. I always play these kind of games on hard because I feel that the developers generally, that's what they want you to play on, is hard. So I did. And the situations that I did get into, I couldn't even get through with guns because you die in 2 shots. It's really hard. And I didn't build my character at all towards that. So I can't really give too much context on it, but the guns feel great. They feel great to shoot. Ammo is not plentiful at all. There were numerous times where I barely had any bullets. When you go pick up a bullet, you'll be lucky if you get 6. So, I mean, it's tough. But the stealth mechanics are awesome. Absolutely loved it. First thing I did was put points into my stealth and my cloaking, and I just ran around, cloaked around, knocking people out, shooting them with my stun gun, and it was awesome. The one thing I did put a lot of my points into was the hacking. I liked the hacking minigame. It was super fun. And I didn't feel like wanting to use all my crafting parts on multi-tools, which automatically open them, so I just felt like I'd do it myself. And it worked every time. Except when you fail and you trigger an alarm, and yeah, shit hits the fan pretty quick then. Now, the biggest thing that I absolutely loved about the gameplay itself in this was very hard to explain. They're almost interviews. It's when you meet one of the principal characters in the game, like I'll use Talos Rucker as an example. Maybe I'll show a clip of her, or maybe I'll show Mother from the Machine God cult, or whatever it is.
Enlightenment is a state of elevated perception and wisdom. You seem to be a little short on both. If you were wrong about why I'm here, bet you're wrong about a lot of other things too.
I admit when you first arrived, I was in the middle of something, and that distracted me from the true reason for your visit. But who could have anticipated one such as you would side with our...
But their whole dialogue sequence goes completely different. It gets into a really cinematic camera angle, and it follows them. And your choices are a lot more... It's thought-provoking. When you're actually having a debate with this person, and you can talk them out of things, or you can talk them into things. One guy specifically, I actually talked him into giving me a capacitor by pledging myself to him, essentially. He was a mob boss. I told him I'd do something for him. But I actually had to play through that 3 to 4 different times because I was curious on the different ways that it would go. And yeah, there's a lot of different branching paths, and that was just the first time. Second time, didn't do it. Third time, didn't do it. Every other time that kind of situation popped up, I just took what I got and went. I just wanted to check it out the first time. Some of them are pretty... And when you talk your way through it, you feel great. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Graphics, awesome. I played it on the PC. I had no lag whatsoever. The only thing I didn't really like is I wasn't able to find a way to lock the frame rate, which kind of is weird for me. So there would be times where I'd be hitting a solid 60 frames a second, but then it would jump up to 65, and then it would drop down to 55, and then it was just this weird little fluctuations, and it didn't necessarily detract anything from the game. It was just, you can notice it. If you're paying attention and you know anything about frame rates, you can tell this is a little hiccup here and there, which is, whatever. Audio, great. They kept a lot of the same soundtrack that they did from Human Revolution redone a little bit, and I loved it. I loved the soundtrack in the Human Revolution, and it's just as good in this one. Voice acting is fairly good. Some of the side characters can be a little hammy, and it could have been a little better, and the dialogue writing could have been a little better for some of the side characters. Jensen himself sounds great. He's got that typical the gruffness that he's always had. Miller's great. I really like Chickeny. I think that's how you say it. The new pilot, not the girl that was in the last one. Being said, the new character, Alex Vega, she's really cool, and I really like the actor that plays her. She's kind of a stealthy person that works with the Collective, they're called. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to get into that. This is completely spoiler-free, except for Human Revolution spoilers. I do want to say one thing, and I actually didn't know about this until I saw it on the internet and people talking about it. But there are in-game transactions in the start menu, and I see it. It's shop, and if you go in there, you can buy praxis points and I don't remember, like credits. So you can just buy credits or something like that. And people are just outraged about this, but really, I didn't notice it until I read it online. That's what I don't get. Like, I get that it's there. Yeah, it's really stupid, and anybody that does it is really, it's a single player game. But do you really need to freak out that much about it? Like, come on, it's whatever. It doesn't detract, it doesn't add, it's just there. Bitch about it, but I've seen reviewers like taking whole points off and stuff for that, and it's like, yeah, microtransactions should not be in a Square Enix Deus Ex game. I totally agree with you, but that's a little bit overkill. Come on, that's a little much. My only real complaint that I have with this game is some of the side missions and maybe a few of the main quests are kind of boring at times. Most of them are really interesting, but there was like one where you have to get these security passes for people that it felt like a go here, give this guy this kind of quest. There were a few of those throughout the game. But other than that, fairly nice mission variety, and I enjoyed most of it. So I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's a must-own. And I think if you're any kind of sci-fi, cyberpunk, or a Deus Ex fan, you owe it to yourself to already have this. I don't know why you're watching this and not just playing it yourself, because it's awesome. Anyways, that's my review for Deus Ex. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode. Later.